Will the Mavericks going ultra big this year work in today's NBA? We break it all down. Coming up next on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Curlo. We, of course, are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys covering your favorite team every single day. What word would you use to describe the Mavericks offseason? Plus, will the big lineup that the Mavericks will deploy this year work in today's NBA? A lot to get into on this wonderful Wednesday afternoon. Appreciate you joining us here on DLLS Sports. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe while you are here, and do for the same for our podcast, wherever you get your podcast for free. Tim Cato, what's going on, man? How are you?
Man, always said Wednesday is the best day for a daily live show. I've always said that.
Yeah, it's true.
Tomorrow I might say Thursday is the best day for it.
Every day is the best day.
Yeah, except the days we don't do live shows.
Yep.
Those are bad days to have live shows.
I'm rocking the new shirt today. Exciting.
Man,
Very
I've never
exciting.
seen that before.
I can confirm that the shirt takes and deflects water better than the shorts that I'm wearing right now. I won't show you, but you're just going to have to take my word for it.
You're a glutton for punishment. You don't have to admit things like this on air.
Well, I'm trying to do my part in making the merchandise more attractive to prospective buyers. So,
The thing he's not admitting is
if
that he
you,
poured
for
half of the sparkling
example,
water bottle on it
spill
like
stuff,
1 minute before the
it
show
will
started.
not be, it won't go badly.
We appreciate the self-deprecation and way to sell merchandise.
I'm happy to put our products to the test. That's what I was doing.
How are you, Kevin? Are you dry?
I am dry.
Okay.
I'm also excited. Don't mark that. Appreciate that, Tanner. I'm excited for tonight's game. The Dallas Wings hosting the Las Vegas Aces at College Park tonight before the All-Star break hits in the WNBA. So
He's going to put the clamps on Asia Wilson.
who is going to put the clamps on
Lee.
Asia Wilson? Who?
Lee and Louisa.
We'll find out tonight at 7 o'clock when the Aces visit the Dallas Wings. But let's get into it today, gentlemen, here on this Wednesday afternoon. What word would you describe the Mavericks offseason? A busy one already, signing D'Angelo Russell to a 2-year deal, getting Kyrie Irving's contract extension done. Daniel Gafford also getting his contract extension done. Oh, by the way, they brought back Dante Exum as well to this team. A lot of things happening for this Maverick squad. Oh, that's right. They also drafted cooperflagg back in June. He's already played and completed his summer league with his 2 games that he has played. So, Corella, I'll start with you on this one. What one word would you use to describe the Mavericks offseason?
Don't you dare steal the one I just workshopped with you.
I won't.
Oh, okay.
Don't accuse me of preemptively accuse me of crimes. One word. That's tough. Committed, I guess. The Mavs are very committed to their vision. We're going to talk more about that vision over the next couple segments, or whenever. I don't know what segments we are. I didn't look at the show rundown.
The next
My
two.
bad.
Yeah.
The next two, perfect. They're committed to size. They're committed to their vision of basketball. They're committed to, the D'Lo plan is a commitment to believing that Kyrie will be back. The D'Lo contract is a commitment to believing that D'Lo will work out here well and will be able to opt out and get a bigger payday. They're committed to Kyrie by signing him to an extension. They're committed to Daniel Gafford. They seemingly are committed to PJ Washington, even though there's no extension there yet, but we all expect there to be. They're committed to...
We think.
We hope, yeah. Well, I guess maybe we don't hope. Depends on how you feel about PJ Washington. But it seems like they're committed to their team. They're committed to their plan. They're committed to their guys. And despite the, will they, won't they courtship between J. Kidd and the Knicks, however real or fake that was, and despite the considerable, departures from the staff, they are committed to J. Kidd at coach, and J. Kidd is committed to retaining they're building out an even better staff next year. So everyone seems committed to winning right now. Whether it works or not, I guess we'll see. But they're like very all in.
I feel like every time you said the word committed, I should have put like a notch on the desk. There's a really good
driving home the
community
point,
bit,
man.
the community cold open, and it just ends with Troy putting a notch, and the thing above it just says notches. So he's doing notches of notches. Yeah. I've also got a C word.
It's like one wedding ring for every time I say committed.
That was an awkward time to say I've got a C word, and then all of a sudden you interrupt, and now there's an awkward pause.
Yeah, what is your C word, Tim? You want to say it?
Tanner,
prepare the bleep.
Can kicking.
Oh.
Yeah. Because
Ooh.
this is why I was going to be upset.
Who came up with that word?
You did. I explained the idea, and I was trying to be like, unfinished implies that this offseason is unfinished, and I believe it's finished. But I do think that it is can kicking, and Dallas at some point will make a move. They at some point will probably make a trade that consolidates and makes everything fit together. This has always been my belief. I was surprised it didn't happen this summer. I have come around on the idea that just bringing everybody back, as long as you still have the flexibility, has some merit. To your point about the commitment, my job is to cover the Dallas Mavericks and analyze whether I think they're going to be good next season. And my philosophy, so much of what they're doing makes me believe that there's some flaws in the way they've built this team. If the Dallas Mavericks were another team, I think I would be really fascinated with their commitment to a philosophy that is a little bit outside of the norms of how basketball is being played right now. And everybody talks about how the NBA looks so homogenous. And we're going to talk about this in the next two segments about two centers and these lineups, and how Dallas's lineups look compared to other two big lineups. But absolutely, Dallas is trying a really fascinating experiment that I tend to think will not go as well as they believe. And I've made that very clear. But I think that's interesting. I think it's fascinating that they're committing to this. But yeah, when I look at the offseason, I do still see it as can kicking. That at some point, they will have to streamline how the rotation looks, how the roster looks, how the minute assignments go out. They will have to, decide whether this experiment, whether this philosophy is something to double down on, to lean into, to continue, or whether it's something that they get some early returns on it, and it leads to them reassessing how the roster looks. But yeah, that's my assessment.
What I'll go with is intentional. It seems like this team has very much a clear plan on what it wants to do to move forward with this franchise and the way that they want to play night in and night out. They brought in D'Angelo Russell to be able to help stem the tide until Kyrie Irving comes back. They were intentional in getting Kyrie Irving and Daniel Gafford done. They brought back Dante Exum as well. It feels like that they have a plan that they believe in going forward on how this roster wants to look. And if that is the case, you have to give them credit for sticking with that plan and moving forward with it, even in the face of criticism, whether it be from us or me or whomever, when it comes to how this team needs to look or should look going into next year. So if that is the case, all we have to do now is to wait and see how that plan works out. But I do believe that they have been very intentional in how they've gone about this offseason. We will see when PJ Washington gets his contract extension. He's eligible for that coming up here in August. And if they're able to get that piece of business done as well, they will have completed pretty much every single item on their list this offseason going into next year. Now, hopefully, health-wise, they'll be ready by the time we get to training camp when we get to September. But outside of that, it feels like this team has accomplished each and every goal that it's had with the intent on being not only good this year, but obviously over this 3-year window that Nico Harrison has created for this team. The intent is there for them to be able to move forward in that direction. Question now is, can they execute on that night in and night out once we get to the regular season?
Yeah, time will tell. I mean, their plan. So it's what if week here at DLLS.
It is.
We're all looking back at things that have happened in the past. And the Cowboys show was the other day, and they spent a lot of time talking about Jimmy Johnson. They spent a little bit of time talking about the Bill Parcells era. And it really feels like to me that the plan of, well, let's just find someone to hold it down till Kyrie comes back, and let's just be really big, and we're not going to take any threes. Like we're just gonna protect the rim, and like we're gonna just win with bully ball. Feels like a Bill Parcells vision of basketball. You know, like we're gonna run on first down. We're probably gonna run on second down. We'll throw the pass on third to convert, and we're gonna get a field goal. Like you can win games 15-10. Like you can win games 9-6. You can win games 24-14.
What else can you win games by?
Well, Bill Parcells didn't want to win games 38-35. You know, and J Kidd has said many times, you know, the Mavs have had to win 135-132, and he don't want that anymore.
He didn't want that.
You know, and so they are trying to win 102-94. Like that's what they want to do. And we'll see if it works. Bill Parcells he had a dominant system for a while. And then, you know, the rules change a little bit, things change a little bit, skill sets change a little bit, and all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore. And so I do think they're definitely bucking a trend. We'll talk more if that's true or not in the next segment. But if they are bucking the trend, is there still space in the NBA for teams that want to play that way? And I guess we'll find out. So on the one hand, yeah, I guess like they have a vision that they stuck to, so hats off. But on the other hand, I don't know if it'll work.
I mean, the ethos of this general manager in terms of his basketball philosophy is that defense wins championships, and he has assembled what appears to be what could be one of the more dominant defensive teams in the league with the length and the size that they have. The question will be, will they have enough offense to be able to win the kinds of games night in and night out that will allow them to compete, especially until Kyrie Irving comes back. But if anything else that we have seen so far this summer, they are committed to defending with length, size, and athleticism. Can they have enough health from the individuals that they're going to be counting on to make that happen? And if they can, this will be a compelling team to watch because defensively, if they're going to live on the foundation of 2.5 quarters against the Houston Rockets and what that defensive performance looked like, if it's any semblance of that for an 82-game season, this could be a very dominant defensive team that's going to give teams problems. The question will be, is that vision that you saw in 2.5 quarters going to be able to be executed for a full 82-game season, given the players that they're going to be asking to put this forward together every night with this team? We will find out. In fact, we'll do so coming up here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Let's look at what two big lineups look like, the rise and fall of those lineups, and what it
Fall
means.
and rise.
They're
back,
rise.
baby.
That's right. And what it means for the Dallas Mavericks going forward. All that and more coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
Just like your favorite team needs a home court advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today is here to help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals. They focus on flooring every single day of their lives. They're locked in. They are flooring experts. They are beyond experts. They're the people who wrote the Wikipedia page about flooring. I don't know that for sure, but I promise you they have
probably
that.
True.
It's probably true. They have that level of expertise. Empire Today is your best bet for a new floor because of this reason. They live and breathe flooring. They're going to be with you every step of the way. They'll bring the showroom right to your house. You can pick out the right flooring and the right colors for your space. You can see how it looks with your furniture in your house. You can get precise measurements taken and have all your questions answered so there are no surprises. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DLLS listeners can receive $350 off when using promo code DLLS. Yes, you heard that right, a $350 discount with code DLLS. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday/DLLS for full details.
If you love going to concerts, basketball games, football games, or in my case, going to WNBA games, you got to use Game Time to get your tickets. Game Time picks allows you to filter out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They've got all-in pricing as well, so you know exactly what you're going to pay before you get to checkout so you're not surprised by any hidden fees. They got panoramic seat views as well, so you can pick out the perfect seat for you and your family to go enjoy the favorite sporting event of your choice. They got the lowest price guarantee as well, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So make sure you take the guesswork out of buying your tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Remember, returns apply. And create an account and redeem code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Gentlemen, what time is it?
Game time.
Game time. The fall and rise of two big lineups in the NBA. Let's hop into Cato's Corner here on the DLLS Mavs podcast, as the Mavericks have decided that they're going to go big, really big, when it comes to this team and how they want to get after teams night after night. What does that mean, Tim Cato, as you have done a deep dive when it comes to two big lineups in the NBA, past and present?
It's the last week on alldlls.com, which you can get access to this if you are a diehard. alldlls.com/diehard if you are not and want info on that. But the story is called "The NBA's Double Big Lineups Nearly Became Extinct. Now, in every possible way, they're back."
So back.
Question for you guys. What would you guess the average height of an NBA player is if you took, and
6'7".
it is 6'7".
Hell yeah.
You took every single player and averaged it together. This season, or the past season, it was 6'7". For 38 years, from the 1980-81 season to the 2017-18 season, it was 6'7". And then, when the season began, training camp, 2018, all of these numbers came back, they averaged together, and the NBA shrunk by an inch. And it was a year before standardized measurements, standardized heights, where, there's that whole news cycle. So, as far as I can see, this was not a accounting thing where the NBA changed the measurements. Again, this happened 1 year before that. I think it is more explainable in just a very quick, easy way. It's not really that important, but it's just a fun way to look at how small ball was taking over. And, if you think about the finals that came before that, the Cavaliers and the Warriors, basically the team that could get smaller, could put more skill on the floor. That was who was winning those games. Even Kevin Love sometimes was struggling to stay on the court. Draymond Green obviously spending most of his time at center, with the death lineups. And that has changed. The three-point revolution really, in a lot of ways, it's very hand in hand with the small ball uprise, that trend, but it's really skill ball. And we all understood that, the big oafs in the middle, the 7-footers, the backup bigs who just came on the court to be big and grab rebounds and stand there near the rim, it was getting harder and harder for those guys to stay in the NBA. In the 2013-14 season, there were almost 10,000 regular season minutes given to lineups with two centers. And then in the 2014-15 season, there was more than 10,000. In the 1920 and the 2021, so the 2019-20 season, the 2020-21 season, those numbers, even the 18-19, all of those two center lineups fell to 1,200, 1,400. Another season with 1,400. There was even a postseason, the 2021 postseason, where there were only 16 minutes the entire postseason with two centers in a lineup on the court the entire time. Back in 13-14, that was 10,000, or it was 1,000. So it nearly went extinct. It was one line. It was Dwayne Dedmon and Bam Adebayo. Miami got swept by the eventual champion Bucks. Eric Spoelstra just trying some stuff, just tossing some stuff out there. It was the only real, and he used it one time for one quarter for 6 minutes. The rest of it was garbage time stuff. Actually, we have that as a graph. We have that as a graph. I forgot I sent you those, so we can pop up that first graph. Whoa. And you can see all of a sudden, last season, in the regular season, 5,200 minutes back to these lineups with two centers, and the postseason almost 1,000. So we're back, baby. We are back. Can we go right to the second one?
Look like from 18-19 through 2021. That's for regular season minutes over an 82-game season.
Yeah.
That's 12 to 15 minutes a game.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of teams that just didn't use two center lineups.
For one team. Now, this is for 30 teams, though.
Yeah.
So 30 teams across 82 games means that this is an average of 1 minute per game of this?
Well, the minutes per game is the next column.
Literally. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It is literally 1 minute per game. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was probably like 3 teams using it 10 minutes a game.
Yeah, or like at
And
the
the
end
other
of the
27
game,
not using
Rick
them at all.
ran a 4 center lineup one time during a blowout.
Right. So it just like there were teams that it was the core part of their identity, and then all of a sudden it was not. So this next graph, it's going to be hard to translate or totally sum up to a podcast listener. So apologies for that. Alldls.com if you want to see the graph in full. But it basically shows that even in the past postseason, it wasn't all 16 teams using 2 centers. It was OKC, New York, Cleveland, Minnesota, Boston, Houston, Miami. Those were the only teams that had, I believe, more than like 100 touches or possessions, or Miami is the lowest with 41 minutes. You're going to see mixed results. Oklahoma City was actually much better with just Chet Holmgren on the floor. When they played 2 centers, their offensive, they scored about 4 points fewer on the offensive end, half a point, allowed half a point more on the defensive end. So it wasn't their best lineup. The thing is, these numbers that you're seeing if you're watching are compared to what the teams are doing with 1 center or 0 centers. So even though Oklahoma City scored almost 4 fewer points per 100 possessions with 2 centers on the floor, they were still beating teams. They weren't blowing them out. They're still beating teams. They're still better than teams. And so even if their best lineup was Chet alone at the 5 without Isaiah Hartenstein, you still have to prep for that. You still have to play against that. And Oklahoma City could still beat you. They're still better than you that way. And so that stood out to me that, no, it's not a cheat code. You can't just throw any 2 centers out there. Obviously, what we're seeing is the rise in skill level of these big men. And some teams are now using that effectively, whether it's their best lineup or not. Oklahoma City is using that effectively, where all the other teams in the NBA who think of themselves as contenders, who think of themselves as a team that has to get through Oklahoma City to potentially win the title, they still have to prepare for the idea that Oklahoma City is going to have 2 big men out there. And if you can't match that, even if it's not their best lineup, even if you match up better with Chet alone as the 5, you've still got to play against 2 centers. And so this, I do think, has increased some of the return, some of the rise in how teams are starting to gear up and prep for just the reality of the NBA right now. So one more graph, and this is where the Dallas part of it really comes in. This is expected duos, 2 centers who I subjectively believe are going to spend time together on the court. So you've got Jaren Jackson Jr. and Zach Edey. You've got a very different lineup in Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. You've got Naz Reid and Rudy Gobert. You can quibble a little bit with like the terminology, like who gets to be a center, who isn't. John Collins, I wouldn't call a center, and so the Clippers aren't on this list for me, even though John Collins is obviously going to play.
It's kind of the subjective thing of like, if this dude is playing center, are you surprised?
Yeah,
and I don't think if any player on this list was the center. I guess the lone exception maybe Bobby Portis.
Right.
Then Giannis is really a center, and that would
right.
You want to see the drive number go up. You put
like
Giannis at center.
I put Jackson and Edey on there. I didn't put Santi Aldama, for example.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what I did, and this is a metric of skill level. You think of skill in big men, and you think how they all shoot threes now, and that absolutely is a part of it. So I've got 3-point attempts per game. This is based off last season's numbers. So there are examples of new pairings like Porzingis and Okongwu, who, because they're now playing next to each other, and Atlanta says sometimes they want them to play together, that's going to be a different, in that context, maybe things change around. But I think another level of skill is a big man's ability to drive. Because being able to drive showcases a new type of athleticism and body control, and it shows the ball skill to be able to put the ball on the floor and get from beyond 20 feet to inside 10 feet. That's how drives are measured. And I find that very interesting. So I combine these two together into what I'm calling a D&3 score, or a unicorn index, if you wish. Dallas is dead last. So Dallas is pretty close to Houston. And the players I've listed for Houston, Şengün, Capella, Adams, Steven Adams. They're pretty close to Miami. I've got Bam Adebayo and Khalil Ware listed for them. Miami and Houston are not going to spend 48 minutes playing 48 minutes playing these two centers. Houston obviously found it late in the year, carried it into the playoff, their first round series against the Warriors, had success with it, but it wasn't their only look. Likewise, I don't think there's any expectation that Bam and Khalil Ware are going to spend 48 minutes next to each other. They may start together, but there's going to be more staggering, just like we've seen with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. About 15 minutes that Jared Allen and Evan Mobley spent on the court together. And they were effective, and that's the approach they took, but they still staggered those guys throughout much of the game. Dallas is committing, when healthy, to Davis, Lively, Gafford, which we think, other than certain stretches where AD takes the 5 all by himself, I do think there's going to be stretches like that. But Dallas is committing, I think they're going to go into every game planning to have two bigs on the floor, almost all the time. Certainly Lively and Gafford next to each other. And then, if Anthony Davis plays 34 minutes, that only leaves another 14 minutes with PJ or Cooper Flagg, manning that 4 spot. So they're committing a lot more minutes to this idea than other teams on this list. And they're doing it even though their bigs are a little bit different. They don't have a big man that, they don't have a prolific three-point shooter. Anthony Davis is a sub 25% three-point shooter over his past 5 seasons. And Anthony Davis, he doesn't drive a lot these days anyway. He does a lot of post work. He certainly puts the ball on the floor, but it's a little bit different than what Jaren Jackson does, for example, who catches in spot-up situations, beats his man, beats a closeout, drives on a closeout, gets closer to the rim. You could view that as if three-point shooting and the ability for bigs to shoot threes, that's spacing, obviously. We all know that's spacing. 5 out, all those terms. We know that if you are good, if you are dangerous, if opponents fear you on the perimeter, they're going to stick to you, which is going to create space in the lane. A driving big man, or anybody driving, creates inverse spacing. Obviously, it collapses. So it's if you are driving, if you beat your man, all of a sudden this guy guarding someone on the perimeter has to rush into the paint to try to stop your drive. So it's spacing and inverse spacing. And these are the two ways that centers, who used to never do either of them, are starting to add dimensions and make opposing defenses react to them. And Dallas has 3 centers who are going to play a lot together when healthy, who just don't provide either of those push-pulls on the offensive end. Every single team listed on this chart that I've come up with, and again, I think Dallas is committing to this more than any team except maybe OKC. Dallas is going to play more minutes, and they're going to do it with less, on the offensive end, with less skill, with less of that push-pull that these guys are going to instill upon an opposing defense.
When Bam and Şengün, who are on the two teams directly above the Mavs, so there's 10 teams on this list. Dallas is last, and then you have Miami and Houston right above them. Bam and Şengün pass a lot. Bam passes out of the short roll. Bam kind of plays point guard for them sometimes, brings up the floor, does a lot of handoff stuff. We'll see Gafford and Davis do a lot of handoff stuff too, and Lively to a degree, but Şengün is, baby Jokic or whatever they call him. I mean, he can pass out of the high post and 3-point line and low post and everything. So even though you might not get a lot of dribble penetration or 3-point shooting from those two guys in particular, they're making things happen for other guys as well, which is its own kind of dynamism. We saw AD have a couple good passing games. Lively out of the short roll is pretty good. Gafford can find some cutters and stuff sometimes if there's space underneath, but the whole point of having them on your team is that they don't have to make, I don't think you want them to make too many decisions.
Right.
But so I don't know. I would say that,
their best skill sets are their rim running centers that can provide athleticism to really be able to create some efficiency at the rim. These are not guys that are going to put the ball on the deck consistently throughout a given night to be able to create and open up things for others. It's just not who Lively and Gafford are. They weren't designed to be on this team in that way.
David in the chat asked, Flagg is 1 inch shorter than Gafford. Should we be considering him into the analysis? Another way that, and again, it is subjective. Different people would have different labels. But another way to define whether somebody is a center is, and we kind of said this, but if that guy's alone at the 5, would you look at that lineup and say this is a small ball lineup? If Flagg is playing the 5, it's a small ball lineup. If PJ Washington is playing the 5, it's a small ball lineup. If Daniel Gafford is playing the 5, it is obviously not. He is a center.
Let's take our next break.
That's a good point to bring up, though. Sorry, real quick. Like, Gafford plays enormous on offense.
Yeah.
But defensively, he's 6'10", and so there is something to the notion of like, okay, well, you need more length out there to help him. Whereas Lively's 7'2" with a 7'6" wingspan or whatever he's got, like maybe he needs less help, but he's thin. Whereas Gafford is bulky. So it's like, even though you got 2 centers, you wish sometimes you could smash them together into one guy.
Speaking of smashing together, the Corellis Trader and Kano's Corner. That's right. The Corellis Trader and Kano's Corner combine on our next segment here to not only continue to break down what these 2 big lineups mean, but Bobby's going to break it down defensively as well when it comes to the Mavericks and what that looks like for them this upcoming season. All that and more coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs podcast. But when you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you want to show it off. And Branded Bills wants to help you show off when it comes to their apparel. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, or tees, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. Looking for some gear to make your brand stand apart from the crowd? Branded Bills has you covered with the best custom headwear as well. You can start your order, and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel that you and your friends need. They also have a partnership with 40 colleges as part of their campus collection, including TCU, Texas Tech, and Texas, just in time for the college football season upcoming here in the next couple of months. So make sure you head to brandedbills.com and use code BBDLLS for 15% off your first order. Again, that's brandedbills.com and use code BBDLLS for 15% off your first order with Branded Bills. Hey.
Monarch Money is always going to keep an eye on your finances for you and help you set goals. It is a financial command center, and it's not some person in an office that you got to go talk to. No, Monarch Money lives in your phone. It lives in your computer. It goes with you everywhere you go. We were just in Vegas the other day, and I was spending money, okay? And
you were having a good time.
Yeah, and Monarch recognized what was going on and was like, hey, if you want to set a travel budget for yourself, like, we can help you do this. I think it was kind of gently saying, stop spending $35 on breakfast every day. Like, what are you doing, man? But if you're a $35 breakfast spender, Monarch Money will help you set your goals so that you can do that without dropping the ball in other areas of your financial life. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code DLLS at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That is 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code DLLS. So whether you're in Vegas, Dallas, or anywhere else in the world, you know that your money is under control.
Real quick, a piece of breaking NBA news here. This coming from ESPN's Shams Charania, the 3-time NBA All-Star Bradley Beal has agreed to a contract buyout with the Phoenix Suns and plans to join the Los Angeles Clippers on a 2-year, $11 million deal with a player option after clearing waivers. So Bradley Beal going to be headed to Los Angeles to play, bless you, with the Clippers.
Have had a good offseason, man. Yeah. Turning Norman Powell into a guy that makes 10% of his salary and then flipping Powell for John Collins is quite nice. That is quite nice.
Yeah, and Beal at this stage in his career, this is a pretty damn good fit for him at this stage of his career going over to the Clippers. So that is the news there. Bradley Beal finally agrees to a buyout with the Phoenix Suns, and he's going to be joining the Clippers on a 2-year, $11 million deal with a player option after he officially clears waivers. So Clippers have themselves a heck of an offseason. They got Brook Lopez as well.
Well, do you think Brooklyn will claim him?
I'm sorry?
You think Brooklyn will claim Beal on waivers?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Any quick thought on that from you, Kato, before we continue here?
No.
Okay.
No, I like the Clippers. Like the Clippers offseason. I agree. Pretty scary team. Wonder if they will play Brook and Zubats together.
They could.
I think it'd be a very, very,
slow,
very, very limited
slow
look.
big man.
I think it'd be a very limited look.
Pretty slow.
I do not expect that to happen.
How about, so you're the top 5 teams in the Western Conference last year. All right, OKC, Houston, Lakers, Nuggets, Clippers. 4 of those 5 teams have made either are OKC or have made significant moves to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Lakers. So, weird, man. I'm not fired up to to be a really good player on the Lakers right now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Interesting. Yeah.
They're kind of messy right now.
It's a mess with the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's continue here as we break out the Corral Illustrator to combine with Kato's Corner when it comes to two big man lineups and what it means for the Mavericks. Defensively, we'll take a look at some things as well. We'll get to your super chat, Javier, here in just a little bit as well.
Yeah, so I pulled, man, there's usually like one central theme to these, but I just kind of pulled a smattering of examples of some defensive plays for the Mavs in the back half of last season once they went to the two big thing. There's a couple examples of without two bigs and then with two bigs, and how even though you're going to have this interior wrecking crew, it's still on everyone else to make plays as well, even when they're away from the ball. And so let's see how these photos look. Let's see if Tanner was able to work his... Oh, that looks pretty good, Tanner. I sent Tanner some really small screenshots because the old way that I used to get this stuff, I don't have access to anymore. So there is no Anthony Davis on the floor. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes and you made it through the chart segment, well, I got news for you. It's getting worse. I really encourage you to go to YouTube. The Grizzlies are running a little pitch and catch into a kind of a little double screen sort of situation, dealio here, and Daniel Gafford is out there. Now, again, you don't have another big. Gafford is the lone big, and so I believe this is Vince Williams with the ball. As he comes off this screen by Marvin Bagley, Gafford is going to drop in the next frame. Gafford drops as Brandon Williams is going to fight over the screen and try and stick with Bagley, but here's where playing one big can have its drawbacks, right? Because look at the entire lane right now. There's no one in there. Gafford is the only player on the Mavs out there taller than 6'7". The second tallest Maverick, that's Najee Marshall, is way over in the weak side corner, attached to G.G. Jackson, and he is not tagging Bagley. Brandon Williams is trying to fight. He is no match for Bagley, and so as we go to this next frame, that is the easiest lob pass of his life. The ball is already in the air, and he is still the only player in the paint. That was an easy catch and dunk on the first play of the game. The first play of the game. So it would be great, right? Oh, my God. Najee Marshall was the power forward. Dante Exum was the small forward. Wouldn't it be nice if there was another big out there so that Gafford could contain the ball handler and have help against the lob target? Well, yeah, it would be in theory. So let's go to this next play. It's a similar kind of setup here, not the exact same. It's going to be a right side pick and roll. This is against the pesky Toronto Raptors. That's former Mavs legend A.J. Lawson with the ball.
It's just two-man pick and roll. No stack action here.
Two-man pick and roll. The Mavs are icing this. Najee's forcing Lawson sideline, and Gafford is going to come up near the level of screen and then just drop back. And now as Lawson drives and attacks the basket, Gafford is doing a pretty good job of containing this, and Najee stays attached to Lawson here. And there's Anthony Davis sliding down to the edge of the restricted area. And so if Lawson is able to make this pass, is that Jonathan Markbo that's setting the screen? I don't remember. Can't tell.
I think it is him, yeah.
But if Lawson is able to get that ball in the air, then Davis is probably swatting it away or at least distracting the screener from catching it. If it's a bounce pass, Davis is there. And if it's just you're trying to snake your way around that double team, then Davis can be in the passing lane. And so Lawson kind of panics and fires a hopeless kickout pass that Klay Thompson intercepts. And so just the simple fact that AD was there prevented the lob pass. Also, it did help that it's AJ Lawson and not like, no offense to AJ Lawson, but like not an all-star guard or like a high-level playmaker that could maybe see this stuff happen ahead of time and make a more difficult pass on time, on target. But the Mavs were able to feast on, a lower-level playmaker with a lower-level screener and rim runner on a lower-level team, and they forced a turnover, and it was great. And you're going to play there are a lot of teams that are worse than you in the NBA that have players like that, and the Mavs are going to pummel them. They have for a long time, really throughout the whole Kid era. I think this notion that the Mavs sort of mail it in against bad teams, that's a relic of a bygone era. That's Rick Carlisle era, Luka KP era Mavs. Those days are done. So do we have any thoughts on two good examples? Any thoughts from the two good examples? Well, one bad play and then one example of like, here's where a big helps. Or do we want to keep going?
Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's keep going for a second.
Okay, all right, let's keep going. Okay, So now let's hop in a time machine and go back to the first game that Anthony Davis and Daniel Gafford played together.
Mm-hmm.
This is back against Houston Rockets. Now, Gafford is going to be the big man on the floor in all of these plays because Lively missed a lot of time this year. And honestly, watching him play defense, he was still dealing with some lingering issues. So there's no point in judging him right now. So Şengün is going to come up and set a screen for Jalen Green. Now, Gafford comes out near the level of the screen, kind of the way he did on that previous example with A.J. Lawson, only this is Jalen Green, who's a better playmaker, better shooter, faster, quicker, more explosive. Jalen Green is just better than A.J. Lawson, right? Do we all agree on that?
Agreed.
Okay. So as we go to this next screenshot, Green turns the corner and kind of dusts Clay. So now it's all on Daniel Gafford. Now, Gafford and every other Mavs perimeter defender can rest kind of easy this season, knowing that Anthony Davis will be back there.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's Davis on the perimeter, it will be Gafford or Lively back there. Or it will be Cooper-Flagg back there. Whatever. It'll be or PJ.
Yeah.
Like you'll have length behind you, and so that does give you the opportunity and the freedom to be a little more aggressive with you if you want to prevent those pull-up threes, get in a guy's face, and hopefully force him into a mistake. But Green is very quick. And so he's able to actually turn the corner all the way and get past Gafford. Now, Gafford is a little behind him. PJ's going to come over and try and help out, but Green is able to fight his way through the pressure here and get all the way into the lane. Now, again, Davis slides over to prevent the layup from Green, but he's able to fire off a little pass to Amen Thompson. Davis then has to recover to that. And how the heck is Alperen Şengün wide open? How? Can we go back one image, Tanner? Klay Thompson or Kyrie Irving.
Somebody go pick up Şengün.
One of those two guys does have to slide down and help on Şengün. Now, this is the first game they played together as a unit, and so very limited opportunities to practice. But now as we go back to the last screenshot, one of those guys has to get in the passing lane and just at least fight, at least battle for the ball.
Probably should have been Kyrie on kind of a semi-X.
Yeah, it looked like
X
Clay.
out.
It looked like Clay is trying to get out to Brooks. Yeah, and so that could be a Kyrie situation. It could be a Clay mistake. But either way, even though you have these bigs at the rim, the other guys still have to be active. And so like off-ball defense just matters so much, even if you are funneling everything into your rim protector, because teams are really good at seeing that stuff. You got guys making 45s. You got guys crashing. The Rockets in the second half went to a two-big lineup, and they were picking the Mavs apart with a lot of little high-low stuff on plays very similar to that between Adams and Şengün. In fact, the first play of the second half was that. It was an Adams screen and roll, and Adams caught the ball on the roll, drew the defense, and just like flipped it over to Şengün for a little 4-footer. So, like that kind of stuff will get you. Now, not every team plays the way the Rockets do and has like so many guys that can make passes like that. But not every game is going to be against a bad team either. So, like,
by the way, how did that play finish up?
Şengün actually missed a finger roll.
Okay,
like it was uncontested. He just went up and missed it.
Okay, so Davis wasn't able to like get back. Okay.
Now, I mean, you can't discount the potential psychological effect of that, but like, I can't show the finish of the play, but it was literally he shot a 2-footer 1.5 feet.
Okay,
like he was just short on a finger roll.
So here's my big picture thought. I love how many weak side defenders Dallas is going to have. When you get into high level playoff matchup tactics back and forth, you see teams not only trying to do mismatch ball, at the point of attack with like who they call up to screen. You see teams trying to move a low man defender out of the play. Like this is how complex basketball can get at its highest levels. That other opponents will try to move your best weak side defender away from a place where he can weak side help to the rim. Dallas has a lot of teams try to do this with Giannis. They bring Giannis into the coverage because they'd rather him denying on ball than being disruptive as a weak side attacker. Luka famously did this, I think, in 2022 against Giannis. Dallas is going to have almost most of their lineups is going to have 2 or 3 different weak side defenders that you really like rotating to the rim. What worries me is just how much rotation this is going to ask of them. Because I think when you look at Kyrie, and Kyrie is an example in this one, we just talked about it, he got a little bit spacey. I think his worst quality as a defender, other than being, just a small guy who can get, people who shoot over him sometimes. His worst habit, his worst quality is, especially when he has a huge offensive load, is he can get a little bit spacey on rotations. PJ Washington,
PJ,
get a little
thing, yeah.
PJ can get a little bit spacey on rotations. Klay Thompson, absolutely can get a little bit spacey on rotations. Can just shut down for a few seconds, and then all of a sudden, he's not in the right place. I would say those three guys are going to be playing a lot of minutes for Dallas next season, and they're going to mess that up sometimes. And that is where the D'Angelo Russell, absolutely. Another guy who can get a little bit spacey on rotations. Now, Dallas has guys who are pretty locked in at all times. Everybody is going to shut down and miss a rotation. That is the NBA. You know, most points in the NBA are scored because somebody makes a mistake. A defensive mistake happens almost every single possession. But I just fear they're going to be giving a lot of minutes to players who are going to be asked to they're going to be asked to make and execute rotations every single time. It's one of the sneaky things that made OKC so good is that all of their perimeter defenders, not only were they very difficult to get past, but man, they were running and sprinting around all the time. There wasn't a lot of just shutting down and not
they have a
making,
point of attack defender as well.
So if that's where I see the concern is that I love how much size Dallas is going to have and just be able to, they should always have somebody near the rim who can slide over. But it's going to take a team-wide effort, and we've said this, it's not the first drive, it's the second and third and maybe the fourth drive in a single possession where that's when I start worrying that these breakdowns are going to happen. That's still very difficult for opponents. That means you have to execute successfully multiple times in a row. You have to drive and kick and redrive and re-kick.
It's like early in the season, teams are going to be pretty freaked out by that stuff.
They absolutely
but
are.
as teams play together,
less talented teams are
and,
really going to struggle at that. But I do believe.
But by game 30, game 40, everyone kind of get an idea of how each other play and stuff. It's going to get a little.
And the best teams in the NBA are capable of doing that.
And not every team plays pick and roll, and not every team is going to have drives like this and all this stuff. But I was just trying to find all of those plays were essentially the same exact thing. A wing pick and roll between a guard and a big where the guy was rolling to the rim. So it's one very specific thing from one very specific part of the floor against a very specific kind of defense.
Sure.
There's many, many kinds. The Mavs were a top 5 team last year, and a number of times they switched to pick and roll as opposed to drop or iced or whatever. I don't think they're going to switch much this year, to be honest. But, I mean, that's just one example, one tiny example.
Let's take our final break here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. When we come back, we'll get to your super chats, and we'll discuss who's the most indispensable Maverick right now on the roster. All that coming up next here on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
But hey, you see that?
New shirt?
It's a new shirt.
It's a new shirt. Where
Yeah.
did I get this from?
I don't.
Tell us.
Beats me.
I got it from the All City Locker. I got it from our site.
Duh.
It's
the Dallas collection.
It's the new Dallas collection. We just rolled out 6 shirts. They all launched yesterday. If you watched yesterday's show, you know that Tim was wearing not this exact shirt, but this design shirt. KG was rocking that bottom left one, that groovy looking 1980s Mavs style DLLS shirt with the little Stetson hat on top. How about that? That's a good looking shirt. We got a Dallas versus all y'all. We got
all y'all.
A pinball machine Galaga looking Nolan Ryan beating the hell out of Robin Ventura shirt. And then we got a howdy folks. And then we got an amalgamation of all the Dallas sports teams mascots. And I learned yesterday it's Rangers captain along with Rowdy, Victor E. Green, or whatever, and Champ. So get yours today. You can get one for free if you sign up to become a diehard. When you do that, you get a free shirt of your choice. If you're already a diehard, you get 20% off any merch on our website. But when you become a diehard, not only do you get that shirt, you also get to join the Discord to hang out with other DLLS diehards. We got more than 1,500, closing in on 2,000 actually now. Great place to hang out. Great place to talk sports.
Do you see the photo I posted? You in there?
Did you post am I about to get mad?
A few days ago.
Am I about to get angry?
A few days ago.
Wow.
Am I going to get angry?
You posted.
Sounds like you're getting angrier and angrier as you're finding out.
I'm getting angry anticipating this picture. Is it a picture of a text thread that I sent you?
Oh, my. Store.allcitynetwork.com to get your Dallas collection.
Oh, no.
Plus, you'll be able to get
stuck on the plane.
You'll be able to get your physical diehard card as well. 20% off our events, member-only Discord. And plus, you'll be able to join the Cowboys crew November 15th to the 18th for our DLLS road trip.
Yeah,
as
do all
well.
that. Thanks for rescuing me, Kevin.
So make sure you go to alldlls.com to become a diehard member today.
I really do look like Hillary in the kitchen, don't I?
A couple other details when it comes to Bradley Beal and his buyout with the Phoenix Suns. Beal is giving back $13.8 million to complete the buyout. Sources.
What a nice guy.
A philanthropist,
Fred
you might
Katz
say.
of The Athletic.
Yeah,
An
Steve Ballmer
altruist.
really needs that money. So.
Beal had $110.8 million in 2 years remaining on his contract, so he'll still get quite a bit of money from the Phoenix Suns in order to not play for them any longer. As we finish up here on the DLLS Mavs podcast today, let's get to your super chats here on the show. We start with Javier Ramirez with the $4.99 super chat. I always saw Omax as the future version of PJ Washington, especially now that we have Flagg. Omax fits his timeline. Is DLLS ready to pull the plug on Omax?
Never. I still believe. But I don't believe that he would. If the team is healthy, I don't think he's playing at all. I think he's a DNP this year.
Yeah. I think the toughest thing with him.
If he's on the roster.
Yeah, if he's on the roster.
Yeah, I think the toughest thing is, the offense isn't amazing. He's shot, super small sample size, but he's a career 26% 3-point shooter. Certainly the idea that he would need to be able to knock down threes to, really earn some time on the court. I think the thing that worries me is he's not like a plus defender, and that's what he was drafted to be. He is he's always like he has good attributes on the defensive end, but he's not really a shot blocker. He's not someone, he's not a formidable weak side rotating type guy. He's never been a blocks and steals type guy. In college, he I think had 12 blocks his entire college career. That was the really worrying stat coming out, and that's not something he's developed at. So he can be in places, he can rotate around, he can take up space, but you don't put him on the floor and see a noticeable defensive impact, which would allow you to smooth over some of the offensive development that he just unfortunately hasn't made yet.
When I watched him in college, I thought, and this might be a bad take, but I've looked at him and thought of like PJ Tucker.
Yeah.
Is how I kind of like read it. Maybe not the kind of guy that, although PJ at his best was able to guard some guards, but he was always kind of like a defend up, like defend guys bigger than him, defend guys stronger than him. Omax is obviously taller than PJ, but similar kind of like, just stout and mean. And
PJ was a fire hydrant.
I mean, PJ
Omax,
Tucker was one of the better defenders of his time, but like that's the kind of player that I thought Omax could be. In that mold, and I mean, he certainly the foot quickness stuff has been a big issue, and lack of explosiveness on offense I think has hurt him. In addition to the 3-point shot, so it's been tough for Omax, but I still believe. I think it's gonna be a big year. Omax Hive, don't go anywhere,
or
don't sell,
or as Sarah called him, Omen.
All right,
well, that's
take
just
it
not
easy.
nice.
I thought it was a funny joke. I thought it was quite hilarious, actually. That remains if he'll be on the roster. Obviously, the Mavericks have re-signed Dante Exum, but they would need to make a roster move in order to make room for Dante Exum by the time the beginning of the season starts.
And Bronny too.
Relax.
Sorry. Oh,
relax.
You said Dante.
Last few minutes of our show here. Who's the most indispensable Maverick on the roster right now?
We're gonna rank a few players. Kyrie's number one, but he's already out, and
because their most indispensable player is going to be dispensed for most of the season.
Correct.
And we all still think they're going to be good, huh?
Does that make D'Angelo Russell number 2 on this list?
No.
I think it might.
It makes Anthony Davis number 2. To me, this whole defense wins championships hinges on the guy that is a top 10, top 15 player when healthy, and arguably the best two-way player when he's healthy. So you need that guy. You need that guy to anchor down this defense, because if he's not there, yikes, man, you're going to have some real issues no matter how big your lineup is with Lively and Gafford, and even with the addition of cooperflagg. To me, it's Anthony Davis is most indispensable given this roster construction right now.
I disagree.
Oh, let's go.
Boom.
Let's go.
Oh, do I have to say why, or can I just say I
You
disagree?
need to say who it is and why.
God damn it.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
you
like
gotta
you
say,
thought you were
so
just
it goes
ride the-
Kyrie
yeah.
to
Boom.
You're gonna
Yeah.
say Cooper, aren't you?
I say Kyrie number 1, and my number 2 most indispensable is Dereck Lively.
Fine, that's
Okay.
fair. Yeah.
I think that he is if we're grouping in AD with the 3 bigs, right? Like I'm no two-headed monster. I know it says it in the description, but I lied to you. It's Lively, Gafford, and AD. Not in that order, but Lively is the big of those 3 that can switch the most often. That is the quickest. That has the most injury concerns. But that his defensive versatility and ability to, I mean, he played as the lone big on the team that went to the finals, and they were kind of struggling until they got PJ, so that he needed clearly
most important
someone
player.
alongside of him. But yeah, I mean, like he was able to anchor a pretty good, very good defense that season. So I think that, defensively, Lively is the most unique. AD is certainly the best player on the team, maybe even including Kyrie. But I think that the Mavs could have a pretty good defense without AD, just like they could have a pretty good defense without Lively. But I think offensively, his ability to pass, ability to make plays, rebound, catch radius, dunk, run the floor. Like I just think no one else on the team does what Lively does.
And I guess where I'll disagree is that pretty good is not going to cut it, given what this roster believes that they're supposed to be in the conference that you're playing in the West. Like, you need Anthony Davis. Like, you got to have him as healthy as much as you can throughout the course of this season, because pretty good against this Western Conference this year. That might get you an 8 or a 9 seed. It may find yourself in the play-in.
No, I don't know. I mean, if you're a pretty good defense, that's what, 12th, 10th? Like, that's like
Is that winning the Western?
top 10 defenses make the playoffs.
Is that winning a championship? I'm looking at this team through the lens of, are they going to win a championship either this year, next year, or the year after?
Because that's like 2 defenses outside the top 10 in the last 25 years have won a title. So
that's my point. Like, you need to have as close to the best defense as you can to win a championship, given that's their stated goal. And if Anthony Davis isn't part of that, you're not winning a championship.
well, I think that they can have a top 10 defense without AD because they've done that twice.
But what did you just say? The top 2 you've had over the last how many years? The top 2 defenses won?
No. So over the last 25 years,
Yeah.
I think only 2 teams have won the title ranking outside the top 10. So like 23 of the last 25 champions have ranked in the top 10 defenses. And one of them was like 11th or 12th or something. So like barely outside the top 10. So like you can't be.
It was like Cleveland after a championship hangover,
Yeah.
or I guess
It was the 16 Cavs, I want to say.
Yeah.
Or maybe one of those Warriors. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was somewhere in that
it was
era.
one of the Warriors or Cavs teams that knew they were going to be in the
Yeah, it
finals.
was whenever
anyway,
I was
and the
feeling
regular season was
existential
not
dread
indicative.
because I thought the Mavs were going to be bad forever.
Yeah.
So I just wasn't really paying attention to the numbers. But like, yeah, I mean, you clearly, ideally, you have both of them healthy. I mean, it's like a 2-3 thing.
Yeah.
I when I came up with this prompt, I was more thinking about like going into the first 50 games. To be honest, like I don't. It's perfectly fine to interpret it whatever way makes sense. I don't know what this team would do if D'Angelo Russell is not out there to, do some ball handling, and like he still might be my number 2. I think Lively's, I think probably AD, Lively after that, and then probably Cooper at this point, and then toss a Dante Exum in there because like this team doesn't have ball handling.
No,
dude,
okay,
it's
maybe PJ and Najee.
Okay, Najee over Dante Exum.
I mean, I respect Dante Exum in this game, but I think
Najee.
Maybe Brandon Williams.
Now that you have Flag, I think Najee's more important than PJ.
100% agree. Yeah, not to be the subway.
Not
guys.
in like a. I think PJ still
But
deserves more
100%
money or whatever. But like if Najee gets hurt, I think that really hurts them because they need a guy that can play off the bench and run some offense a little bit.
Right. I mean, I think
Cooper
there's
does that in the lineup.
I think there's an argument that Najee should be the 2 over Clay, but Clay's probably in the list too. Like I would be starting Clay at the 2, but like at least putting a driver, getting that inverse spacing, by collapsing defenses, even if Najee is not the greatest in the world at creating passing out of those drives. He kind of just drives too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think Clay's coming off the bench this year. I mean, if they're going to commit to playing Cooper at the 2, I don't see where Clay fits in the starting lineup this upcoming season.
Well, yeah. If he's at the 2, then that's how it kind of shapes
I also
out.
think Lively is more, maybe not even more indispensable because like But I think if Lively has lingering injury concerns, I'm terrified.
Yeah.
Whereas if AD has lingering injury concerns, it's like, well,
It's
kind of what did
Tuesday.
you expect?
Yeah.
And it's like you can make moves to get off him or whatever, but like you have so much invested in the future, or like you think you have so much invested in the future with Lively that if he turns into a 40 game per year guy, then it's that's my head against the table.
That'll do it for us today here on the
I don't know if the mic
DLLS
picked it
Mavs. Yeah, please. Okay. All right. Here on the DLLS Mavs podcast, we appreciate it. Got Tanner making us look good and sound good as always. Thank you, sir. We will be back tomorrow at a special time, boys and girls.
Oh, that's right.
As we've got a special show, the What If special, when it comes to your Dallas Mavericks. The top 10 what ifs in Mavericks history. That'll drop tomorrow, 7 p.m. right here on DLLS
Central.
Sports. Right. That's our guy, Bobby Curl, our Mavericks analyst. That's our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 7 p.m. right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.